In this video, I'm going to teach you our go-to binds, and if you've watched a lot of our tutorials, these are the binds that we come back to time and time again. And so in this video, I just want to teach you 3 of those. The first one looks like this. Second one adds a little flourish to the beginning of that, and it looks like this. And the third one is done on the other side of my body. That looks like this. So when you're first getting into the first one, it's a good idea if you already know how to do the reverse flip on the front mount. So we have another video that teaches you how to do that. And pretty much the technique is the same, except halfway through the flip, you're going to pinch the string so that it goes into the bind. And of course, the other difference is that it's not off of a standard throw. It's going to be off of a breakaway because that allows the yo-yo to be spinning the right direction for this to be a backspin mount. Now, if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about in terms of the backspin mount or the spin of the yo-yo, definitely check out our bind theory video because we get into the mechanics of how all binds work, and that'll help you learn these binds and pretty much any other bind that we teach as well. So once you've mastered the reverse flip on the front mount, you're going to be able to work on this one. And watch what happens if we kind of slow that motion down. So you get set up, you do your reverse flip, and look at where we are halfway through. We're pretty much set up for a regular bind. So if we were just going to pinch the string right here and change the height of our hands, we've achieved our bind. But instead of having the yo-yo just sitting still, what we're doing is we're actually swinging it away from us and feeding that pinched tail right into the gap of the yo-yo. And that's all this bind really is it's just a reverse flip and then tossing the yo-yo away from you while feeding the pinch into the gap. It's as straightforward as that. Now, if you are struggling with your reverse flip a little bit and you still want to work on the mechanics of this bind, one thing that you can do is just practice the swinging motion without the reverse flip. So you just get your bind set up, pinch the string, swing the yo-yo away from you, and you can just kind of practice that until you can get it down. Like I said, there's one thing that you can do to make it work is you do want to feed the string into the gap a little bit. So if you're missing the way I was showing, then that is probably what the problem is, that you need to be tossing the string in toward the gap a little bit. There's actually a few ways that you can do that as well. What I like to do is I like to throw the string kind of towards the yo-yo but underneath it a little bit, and that makes sure that the bind comes out clean every time. But if you want to, you can actually move your opposite hand toward the yo-yo a little bit and even hold it just above the yo-yo. And if you do that, it almost always comes out clean, but your bind can be just a little bit tighter. So that's something that you'll also want to experiment with. Now, once you're getting your bind more consistent, then you can add in the flip. So what you want to do is you want to, again, it's just like a normal reverse flip, but as the yo-yo is passing by your arm, make sure that you bring your hands together because you want to make sure to get your tail long enough to achieve your bind. If you don't do that, if somehow you do the flip in such a way with a short tail, you're almost never going to be able to get this bind to work. So the easiest way to make it work, again, is to just bring your hands together as you're doing the reverse flip. That gets you a tail that's long enough, can allow the bind to work. Now, the other thing that's important is that you pinch at the right time. You don't want to pinch at the beginning. You want to pinch the string right after it passes by your arm on your yo-yo hand. That'll make sure that you're set up for the rest of the trick and you can get your bind really consistent. For the second bind, all you're really doing is you're adding a flourish on top of the first bind. So technically it's not a different bind at all, but let me show you what I mean. All you're going to do is you're going to get set up for the first bind, and then you're just going to roll over your finger one more time, undo that roll with some slack, and then you're set up for your first bind, and then you just perform that bind and bring it back to your hand. So let me show you how the slack works. What you're going to do is, like I said, you start off with an additional roll, and then you've got the string coming off of your yo-yo hand. What you want to do is pinch one of these 2 strings, or both of them, with your thumb underneath the string coming from your yo-yo hand, and that'll allow you to swing this string around the yo-yo, which will then set you up in the position that you were in to begin with, and then you can complete the bind. So when you're doing that particular swinging motion, one thing that'll make it look just a little bit nicer is if you swing it to the side instead of going around the top of the yo-yo. You can see how that looks just a little bit awkward. But if you go from the side, you don't need to use quite as much motion, and it gives it more of a 3D lateral effect, which just helps the trick look a lot nicer. The other thing that you want to pay attention to while you're doing this is getting the timing right, because that'll help the flow of the trick work a lot better. So when you first do that second roll, you can see the yo-yo swings back toward you. And as the yo-yo is swinging back towards you, that's when you want to undo the slack. And the reason you want to do that is because then the yo-yo will swing back forward so that you can complete the trick. And so when you put it all together, you can see the yo-yo is going to swing back towards you, and then it swings forward, and you can complete the bind. Now, for the third bind, like we said, this is on the other side of your body, and this one is a lot more simple than the other two. It's simple to understand, but it's kind of hard to perfect, and this is one that you might have to actually work on a little bit more. So all you're going to do for this one is, again, you're going to get into your undermount just like the other binds that we showed you, and then you're going to swing the yo-yo across your body. You're going to bring your hands together, which will make the tail a little bit longer, and then you're just going to toss the yo-yo off to the side, and ideally it will bind. Now, one thing that you can do to help ensure that it's going to bind more often is you're going to pull your yo-yo hand in toward you just a little bit, and that will pull that tail around, which will rotate the bearing, which will help to execute the bind. Now, as you're doing this, what you're going to find, especially early on, is a lot of times the yo-yo either won't bind or you'll end up with a really awful tail. So there's a couple of things that you can pay attention to that will help make this bind work better. One thing is you should pay attention to how quickly you're throwing the yo-yo over. If you throw it too quickly, then the bind might not have a chance to take, and the yo-yo won't come back the way that you want it to. The same thing can be true the other way, is if you throw it too slow, a lot of times that'll get you a tail as well, and you're going to have to clear the yo-yo out to get that worked out. And so you're going to want to try to find the right balance as far as the speed goes. The other thing that you can toy around with a little bit is how much you pull back with your hand. If your timing is a little bit too late or if you pull too much, those can cause different types of problems. And so, again, this one is more about experimentation because yo-yos have different gap widths and your string can be thicker or thinner, and for all of those different reasons, it's going to play just a little bit different for each yo-yo. The other thing you can experiment with is you can toss the yo-yo to the side. If you want it to be a little bit safer, you can kind of just drop it down a little bit, and that'll help a little bit because there's not quite as much motion on the yo-yo. As you can see, it's a pretty straightforward motion. It's not hard to understand, but give yourself a little bit more time to work this one out because it will take some time to perfect it. So those are our 3 go-to binds.